Alright, so the theme for this deck's pretty simple. It just tries to use the card Oops, which has the effect of destroy one card you control, which seems kind of like a dumb effect, but I mean there's lots of cards which can benefit from being destroyed. So that's what this entire deck is around. Just cards that can benefit from being destroyed by Oops, and since it also targets spell and traps, it works on artifacts too. Alright, so in an attempt to make the intros shorter, I thought I would just go on my usual lengthy explanations and just add it to the end of the video. But for this one, there's not really much more to talk about. The deck is pretty self-explanatory. You use oops to destroy yourself, but I think I only really use it like once. I swear, I used it a lot more while playtesting. I just usually lost those matches, and yeah, that didn't really work out. Or I caused my own effects to miss timing because I was testing it out with stuff. What really surprised me with all this testing, though, was that Nine-Tailed Fox's effect goes off if he's destroyed in the hand. I didn't know that, but I mean, it makes sense looking back on it, because obviously it just says if this card is destroyed, special summon 2 tokens. It doesn't say it has to be on the field. It's just like it never occurred to me to destroy it in the hand, which is actually a little bit easier. Because of this clause, you can basically special summon it if you just destroy it from your hand, because you get 2 tokens off of its destruction, and you can then just use its second effect to special summon itself by tributing 2 monsters, or tributing the 2 tokens he summons. So that was super useful, and he actually kind of won me a couple of games, especially one where he stole it with, my opponent stole it with Borlo Dragon, and I just destroyed it back and then used its effect to special summon the 2 tokens I got off of its destruction, which was pretty useful. The True Kings as well, they all gain their effects off of oops, so they fit perfectly. Plus, the field spell card was actually so much better than oops, because you could destroy cards in your hand as well. Oops would probably be a lot better if I just made a pure, like, True Draco deck, or like Draco Slayers, Pendulum, I'm forgetting what they're called. Or if I just want like pure fire type. But I wanted some diversity. I didn't want, when I try to make these kinds of XTR decks, I like some diversity in the deck, but not too much diversity where the deck is just unplayable. So for this one, honestly, it'd probably be a little bit more consistent if I removed the gear town, just the gear engine completely. Because my thought was, destroy gear town with oops, it works. Because I was like, I didn't want to just destroy artifacts. Well, artifacts actually weren't in the first version of this deck. I added them in later when I remember that Moral Touch was unlimited. It's like, oh, that's really good. Because you see, when I make these decks, I have like a list of deck enhancers, like archetypes that can just be splashed into anything, TM or like almost, depending on what it is. Artifacts and kaijus are like one of the universal splash-ins. They can fit in like pretty much any deck without, messing it up or relying on something super specific. So I use kaijus a lot. And I would have used artifacts a little bit more, except Moral Touch had been limited, so with him going unlimited, expect to see more artifacts in the future. In fact, let me just look at the list real quick. I have Wind Witch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. I only have 12, I think. These other ones don't really count. So I have 12 archetypes that fit with any other decks. I have Wind Witches if it's Synchro base, Fire and Ice Hand fits with anything, Trap Tricks is anything, Artifacts fits with anything, Mirror Force. This isn't really an archetype, it's just adding a whole bunch of Mirror Force cards. That actually kind of helps a lot because there isn't a lot of... people don't really play Mirror Force anymore, so it can actually kind of win you games sometimes if you get one off. Invoked. They work with pretty much anything, but they work the best with light-type monsters, Predaplants with dark-type, Orbital Hydrolander. Any deck, you just have to only run one copy of each cards. Necros for any ritual deck. Basically, if I make a ritual deck, I'm running the Necros engine in it. And actually, let's just stop it there. I said I'd be able to make this a little bit longer if I just put this at the end, but I think this is a little bit too long, even for, talking about the deck.